dig it right there. Holy cow, holy cow, holy cow. My gosh, where the heck did that fish come from? Where the heck did you come from? My gosh. Ho, ho, ho. No, 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 stop it. Oh. Come on, come on, bring it in, bring it in. Welcome to TRF, welcome to TRF. Welcome everybody to Tyler's Real Fishing. Today, I assume we're gonna talk about the vibrating jig, probably. Let's talk about it. Another big one. Another huge one. Another huge one. Am I going? Okay. I was not even recording, folks, on my chest mount, and we've hooked another giant. I think this one's even bigger. Oh, ho, ho. This is why you throw the vibrating jig over grass in the post spawn. These fish have just moved out here. They are hungry as heck. Oh my gosh, my line, y'all, is twisted around my guide. Just get in my hand, just get in my hand, just get in my hand. Yes! Yes, 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 yes. I'm so excited. This is fun. This is a lot of fun, folks. Oh my gosh. Get you a thunder cricket. All right, let's sit down and talk about what we're doing. So it has been a while, but we are finally here on the front deck after a long, fun day of fishing the vibrating jig. And so of course, I wanna sit down and explain to you guys not only how I work the vibrating jig in all situations, but how I did it in today's specific post-spawn, slightly offshore bass situation. We're gonna talk about all the gear that you need for this specific type of vibrating jig, and of course, the vibrating jig right here, my personal favorite, the Strike King Thunder Cricket. But before we get into all that, I have to thank today's sponsor, which is Ridge Wallets. The Ridge wallet is an amazing wallet. You know, for years and years, I had a clunky leather wallet from the 1990s, basically. And anytime I would sit down, I have to take it out of my pocket because it's too uncomfortable. The Ridge wallet changes everything about that. Now, when I got sponsored by Ridge here on the channel, I think it was 8 months or a year ago, I was kind of skeptical. I was like, you know what, this wallet's cool. But after using this thing for a full year, I have fallen in love with it, and all of my friends have one. My cameraman has one, right, Levi? He has a Ridge wallet, and here's why they're so amazing. First thing you notice, of course, is how slim and compact this wallet is. It fits discreetly in any pocket, whether we're talking your jeans pocket or your backpack pocket, really any pocket, and it can hold 12 full-size cards with room on the back for cash. The Ridge wallet comes in over 30 colors and styles, including burnt titanium, and the one that I have here, my personal favorite, carbon fiber. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to their over 30,000 5-star reviews on their website. Now, this thing also comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can have one wallet and carry it for life, as I plan on doing. And the team at Ridge is so confident that you're gonna like your wallet like I did. They're offering you a 45-day complete money-back guarantee, so there is nothing to lose. Now, as always, there is good news for you guys by listening to this. There is a 10% off coupon code by using code TRF. I'll have a link in the video description, as well as pinned to the top of the comment section. Thank you, Ridge Wallets, for sponsoring this video. And let's hop into talking about the vibrating jig. If y'all have followed the channel closely over the past year, you know that I put out a very detailed how-to video on everything you need to know about fishing the vibrating jig, the Strike King Thunder Cricket right here. I will leave that, of course, linked in the video description below. And in order to save time and to be able to get to some cooler things that I want to discuss with you guys, I'm not going to go over in super detail how to work the vibrating jig or how to feel if it's a bite, how to set the hook. I cover all that in detail in the other video, and so of course I don't want to waste y'all's time. If you've already seen that video, you know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, I would encourage you guys to go watch that. But in the springtime, you guys know that I hardly ever don't have a Thunder Cricket tied on all throughout the spring. It is something that I do not take out of my tackle box. I mean, most of the year, but especially from January through May here in Texas, the Thunder Cricket is just a mainstay for me. I use this thing in almost every single fishing trip. It's one of the lures that I use to search water, to find productive water, to of course slow down. And in today's episode, I was able to use it to fish a little bit offshore, much like a post-spawn post-spawn video that I just released on my channel a few days ago. Now in that video, I talked about post-spawn fishing when it comes to your deep, clear reservoirs. In today's situation, we are on a very shallow, more dirty grass and wood-oriented lake, but those fish still exhibit the same behaviors. They just don't show it in the exact same water depth or water clarity. So in that video, of course, you can watch it by clicking, I'll have that one as well linked in the video description because these two are kind of synonymous titles. Fish, of course, feed up in the pre-spawn, then they go up to spawn, they wear themselves out by spawning. Once the fry have hatched, the male and sometimes the female for a short period of time stay up to guard their new baby bass, and then they move off into deeper water before they start sliding up in the mornings and in the evenings for the shad spawn. And so I was able to find in today's episode a very specific offshore area that these big bass were able to slide out to, feed up on bluegill and baitfish, and then as soon as those baitfish start to spawn in about a week or two, those bass are going to start moving heavily back to the bank before they go even deeper for the summertime. And so what I'm looking for with this vibrating jig is offshore grass. For the two fish catches in this video, I was fishing grass that was in 6 to 12 feet of water, and the grass stems were kind of sticking up from, let's say the bottom was 10 feet of water, it was sticking up to kind of 8 to 6 feet. So if you're looking on a fish finder, you may think that it's 6 feet deep, but in this situation, it's actually 10 feet deep because the grass grows a good 4 feet above the bottom. And those fish were just on a very edge of an underwater grass point. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what that looks like on my fish finder, on the drone, from a drone shot, and of course on my Livescope unit up front facing forward to show you guys exactly where those fish were sitting. So I think the best way to start is by going to my fish finder and showing you guys, based on my topographic map, why I chose to fish in that area, how you can replicate that around the lake to most likely catch more fish in the same exact stage. And then I'll show you guys via my Livescope unit up there the exact thing my eyes were seeing, and then I'll give you guys my biggest takeaway for fishing a vibrating jig in slightly deeper water than average. So let's hop over to my fish finder. You guys have been begging me for a long time to do some kind of topographic map or electronics instructional, and so that's what I'm going to talk about for this certain portion of the video. Now, when I'm looking for post-spawn areas for those fish to sit on, I'm looking for an area that's close to a spawning bay or a spawning pocket where those fish were probably spawning, and then they're gonna move out to some kind of point or ditch, literally sometimes the same exact place as those fish were in the pre-spawn is where they're gonna group up in the post-spawn, like I mentioned. So the exact place that I was fishing today is over here on this island, and it is a great looking point right here. I have the depth shading to be every 5 foot increments from 0 to 5, 5 to 10 is different colors. And so as you can see, my boat was definitely squiggling around this area right here in this 5 to 10 foot, and I was throwing into this 10 to 15 foot area right here. And the reason why I picked this point is because there was shoreline grass here, I saw some eelgrass here, and then I saw on my Livescope unit some grass out here, and the edge dropped off right over here. And I love this area because it is right next to a spawning pocket and a spawning pocket, and it's on the main lake. And so those fish that might be spawning here or here can either go to this point or this point, and both of these had fish on them today. If we were to go around the lake and find something else that looks similar, I'm gonna look at this point right here, because we have a spawning little pocket right back here protected from a north wind, and you have a point here and then maybe a hump those fish could slide out to. Let's keep zooming around the map. Oh, this is a perfect one right here. The fish are most likely going to slide back into this area to spawn back here, and then this point right here is a perfect place for those fish to feed up on before they slide up here to feed for that shad spawn, and then head way out here on these types of points and depressions for the summertime. So hopefully that made sense to you guys. If you're still confused how to read topographic maps, I'm actually going to do an instructional on that very soon, probably here in the summertime when I can actually catch some really good fish offshore for you guys to show you exactly what I'm looking at on the map and proving that with some fish catches. But next we're going to hop to the front deck to my Livescope unit to show you guys, like I mentioned, exactly what I was seeing down there on my graph. Not only did I see that drop off of the grass, but I also saw physical fish sitting in that grass, and that's exactly where I caught those two big ones. So I'll hop on the front deck. Now the cool thing about Livescope is that it is a forward facing sonar. So instead of the sonar shooting straight down and seeing fish and structure down there, it shoots it straight out from the boat, exactly where the trolling motor is pointed. So whenever I move the trolling motor, you guys will be able to see exactly what goes on down there, and I'm actually going to show you a screen recording with some voiceover on what you're looking at down on the bottom. Now this screen right here might confuse some of you guys if you've never looked at Livescope before, and it's actually pretty easy to understand. So what you're looking at is an x-axis and a y-axis. So the x on the top goes from 0 to 80. That is 0 feet is where the boat is, and then 10, 20, 30, 40, so on is how many feet in front of the boat it is reading. And then from the y-axis on the left goes from 2 to 24. That's how the settings that I have it on right now. And as you can see, the return stops at about 12 feet, which is how deep it is. Now, looking forward, you can see at about 10 feet in front of me and 10 feet deep is where that edge closest to the boat is, and you can see a few fish in that area. And then as I'm kind of panning the trolling motor around the transducer, you can see about 650 to 40 to 60 feet out, depending on where I point it, is where the outside edge of that grass line is. That is right where I got those 2 big fish to bite, and there's plenty more fish in that area that if they get presented the right bait, will eat. So it's really, really cool to be able to see not only the cover and the structure that's down there, but exactly where the fish are, what water depth they are sitting in, and how they are reacting to my lures. Now, of course, I try not to use Livescope for every single video, but this one was definitely helpful. Now, the 2 most important things when it comes to fishing this vibrating jig in deeper water, you know, most of the time I'm fishing a vibrating jig in 2 to 6 feet of water. Today I'm fishing it in 5 to 10 feet of water, 5 to 12 feet of water. And so the 2 most important things when it comes to that are 1, upping your weight size on your vibrating jig, and 2, slowing down your retrieve. And of course, a heavier weight is going to allow a slower retrieve. When you're throwing a 3/8 ounce vibrating jig or a 1/2 ounce, you're gonna have trouble reeling that thing slow because it needs a certain speed in order to get that blade vibrating up front. And so when you have a heavier vibrating jig, not only does it allow you to reel it slower and still have that vibrating thump, it also allows your bait to get down to the bottom faster and stay in that strike zone for a longer period of time, which definitely results in more fish following your lure and more fish eating your lure. So those are the 2 things that are very important. The gear that I'm using is actually a discontinued Lew's vibrating jig rod. It's called the Magnum Rattle Trap rod, and I'm in the process right now of testing out a whole bunch of new rods right now to try to replace this one so you guys can go out there and have the exact same combo I have. I'm using 17-pound fluorocarbon and then the Lew's Tournament MP in a 6:8 to 1 gear ratio. Usually I use a 7:5 to 1, but like I said, because I want to reel it a little bit slower to keep it down in that deeper water where those fish are living, I'm gonna have a slightly slower gear ratio. And that's it. So I know that was a ton of information for you guys, and for y'all who pond fish or don't have fancy electronics like I do, you may be kind of lost right now. You think, well, I mean, I know I can throw a vibrating jig, you know, off the bank, but how do I find grass like that? Well, the good thing is if you know from just fishing your body of water where the grass is, you can slowly start to make longer casts and get farther out there to where those fish potentially could be sliding out to feed up and just kind of chill out there. And so you don't necessarily need the electronics to do what we're doing. I could look at a point like the one over here and just imagine, you know what, there's probably underwater vegetation that's branching out somewhere out there. I can make test casts and find that grass edge, and you'll be able to have the same exact success that I found. I just have fish finders that allow me to more quickly eliminate water and make the proper directional cast and depth of cast. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I love teaching you guys how to catch more bass, and that's what we're all about here on this channel. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Once again, Once again, I will leave the full-length vibrating jig instructional down in the video description below, as well as the other immediate post-spawn video where I talk about post-spawn in those deep, clear, rocky lakes. I'll have that linked in the video description, as well as all the gear in